All right, let's dive right in. In the world of digital marketing, if you're standing still, you're actually falling way behind. It's just that fast. So building a team that doesn't just keep up, but actually dominates, well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? In this explainer, we're going to unpack a pretty cool idea: how HR, of all departments, has become the secret weapon for building these absolutely unbeatable marketing teams.
So let's just kick things off with a pretty tough question. I want you to think about this for a second. Is your marketing team an asset, or are they a liability in this absolutely chaotic market we're in? I mean, think about it. Trends can literally pivot overnight, and your best people are getting headhunted left and right. Is your team really built to win, or are they just trying to tread water? The answer, and this might surprise you, often points back not just to the marketing department, but to a key strategic partner.
Okay, so first up, the digital marketing challenge. Before we get to the solution, we really need to get a feel for the problem. You got to understand the sheer speed and craziness that marketing teams are dealing with every single day. And yeah, battlefield is honestly the perfect word for it. It is just pure chaos out there. I mean, a new TikTok trend can pop up and completely derail your campaign strategy in a matter of hours. Google and Facebook, they're constantly messing with their algorithms, so what worked yesterday might be useless tomorrow. And the talent? Finding great creative people is tough, but keeping them, that's a whole other level of difficult. So yeah, it's not just a challenge, it's a full-on war for attention, and you need to be so agile just to stay in the game.
So how in the world you win on this battlefield? Well, the answer comes from a place you might not expect. Let's talk about HR and how it's becoming a true strategic partner.
Okay, so let's just be clear on what we mean by human resources management, or HRM. We're not talking about the old school paperwork and payroll department. No, this is a whole new philosophy. And the magic words here are most valued assets. It's this massive shift away from thinking of people as, cogs in a machine, to understanding that your people are your competitive advantage. Full stop.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the past, administrative HR. It's all about compliance, costs, basically a back office function. But on the right, that's the future, strategic HRM. Here, employees are assets. The focus is on performance and growth, and HR is right there in the driver's seat with the rest of the leadership. This right here, this is the fundamental mindset shift we're talking about. It's absolutely crucial.
So how do they actually do this? Well, it really breaks down into a few key pillars. And the first one is all about building agile skills.
They don't just wing it. They use a really smart, proactive process like this strategic workforce plan. So instead of a manager freaking out and saying, hey, we need someone who knows AI like yesterday, HR is already ahead of the game. They're forecasting what skills you're going to need. They're looking at the team you have right now. They're spotting the gaps between the two. And then, this is the important part, they create a real action plan to close those gaps. See? It's all about being strategic, not reactive.
And I love this quote because it shows you what this looks like in the real world. As soon as clients start buzzing about things like sophisticated analytics, or blockchain, or VR experiences, a strategic HR team is already on it. They're partnering with learning and development to spin up skills boot camps to get everyone ready. They're listening to the market and responding instantly.
Let's make this super concrete. Imagine everyone suddenly talking about chatbots and conversational marketing. The old way, you'd panic and try to hire a bunch of new people. The strategic HR way, you launch a chatbot bootcamp. You get your current team enrolled in some online courses, bring in your internal experts to lead some sessions, and give them a real project to work on. And boom, in just a few weeks, you've upskilled your existing team. Now that is agility.
And it's not like they're starting from scratch. They have this amazing modern toolkit to pull from. We're talking about learning management systems, platforms like Coursera or Udemy for deep dives. They create individual development plans, so learning is personalized for each person. They even use little micro-learning modules for quick skill boosts. It all adds up to making learning a constant thing, not a once-a-year event. That lunch and learn on the new GA4, that's not just a nice free lunch. It's a critical part of keeping your team at the top of their game. Okay, but having the right skills is only half the battle, right? This brings us to the second, and I'd argue even more powerful pillar, shaping a competitive culture. Think of culture as the social glue holding everything together. It's what keeps your super skilled team motivated and innovating. And the best part? A great culture is something your competitors just can't copy.
And great cultures don't just happen by accident. A strategic HR team acts like an architect, intentionally designing it. And they've got three main levers they can pull: recruitment branding, their learning philosophy, and how they recognize and reward people. Let's break those down.
First up, recruitment branding.
Think about it. Your culture starts sending signals before a candidate even hits apply. If you want a team that's all about innovation and taking risks, your careers page better not be a boring list of job duties. You got to showcase the cool stuff, the hackathons, the fail-fast weeks. That way you're attracting people who are already excited about that kind of environment.
Next, there's the learning philosophy. And this is where a company really has to put its money where its mouth is. When HR pushes for a generous professional development budget, say $1,000 per employee per year, it sends a super clear message. It says, we invest in our people. We expect you to keep growing. It just bakes that growth mindset right into the company's DNA.
And third, and this is really smart, is how you reward people. You can talk about collaboration all day long, but if you only give bonuses to individual lone wolves, what message are you really sending? So, smart HR departments use these peer-to-peer recognition platforms, where team members can give each other shout-outs and even small bonuses. It literally hardwires collaboration and teamwork right into the system. So clever.
Of course, all this cultural stuff has to be supported by the actual company's structure. And HR plays a huge role here. Think about it. A super rigid, top-down hierarchy with tons of management layers. That's just slow. But a flatter structure where you have self-organizing teams and people's roles are more flexible, well, that's what gives a marketing team the speed and agility it needs to really crush it.
All right, so we've got the skills, we've got the culture. Now for the final piece of the puzzle, measuring what matters. Because how do you know if any of this is actually working? You got to look at the data.
And these are the kinds of metrics we're talking about. We're moving way beyond just counting how many people work here. We're asking the real questions. Are our best people sticking around? Is all that training we're doing actually paying off with better results? Are people engaged and excited to be here? How fast can we fill a critical role? This is the data that proves HR's work is directly hitting the bottom line.
So where does all this data come from? Well, thank goodness the dreaded annual review is pretty much dead. Instead, modern HR uses awesome tech platforms that allow for continuous feedback, regular check-ins, and real-time goal tracking. It gives everyone a constant pulse on how things are going instead of waiting a whole year to find out.
And all of this brings us right back to where we started. When you see HR proactively building skills, architecting a killer culture, and then measuring the heck out of it, it's a total transformation. So you have to ask yourself, in your organization, is HR just a cost center, or is it the growth engine it's supposed to be? Honestly, the answer to that question could be the difference between winning and getting left behind.